Focus! Focus! There you go. Maybe it is voice activated.
So we've finally arrived at Guide Falls. Nice little short drive in, some picnic tables and facilities here, so it's obviously quite a nice place for a picnic, family area, and there's some nice little wooded areas around here as well. And we can hear and actually see the falls from where we've parked, which is also cool. Andrew's already taken off. He's got an early start on us. Richard's just finished packing his gear, and I'm ready to head off as well. What I might actually do is put the drone up first, see what sort of shots I can get, because it's a little bit hard with 3 photographers trying to photograph a waterfall. So we'll see how we go. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. So if you need a website, a domain, or an online store, make your next move with Squarespace. You'll probably be able to hear the falls to my right, because I'm actually quite close to them. This path follows the falls up to the top. It's quite an easy walk. There's the falls there. When we arrived, there was clear skies, sunshine. It was going to be a little bit too hard to take a photo in harsh light of the waterfalls, because you want to be able to slow your shutter speed down to at least 1/3 of a second. Overcast, and unfortunately it's now started raining. Just a little bit of light rain, that's all. So hopefully we can get the camera out and we don't get too much spray from the waterfall and of the light rain on our lenses, otherwise it's going to ruin those shots. I found Andrew here. He's exploring around this rock and just around the corner there. What have you found so far, mate?
So we found the large set of falls. It's cascading down beautifully on a nice angle and just pumping absolute beautiful mist up against the wall. This whole area is actually column basalts, which gives you these really nice cascading waterfalls. And you can see the columns in the walls on the other side, and they're just absolutely beautiful. Ferns growing through them. And when you put the polarizer on those black basalt, it just makes everything pop against it. Great contrast.
So as you might be able to see, just around the corner here, the path is quite narrow and it's right up against the river and the falls themselves. So there's not a lot of room, and so we're kind of taking one turn at a time to take our shot. The other complication, of course, is, as I said before, we've got a fair amount of mist coming off the waterfall, and it's starting to rain, only lightly, but enough to affect the lens, so we have to keep on wiping that clean. So what I've tried to do is, to prepare for my shot, is to set my camera up onto the tripod. I've got the 24-70 on the front, and I've got the screw-in circular polarizer. I'm not going to need any other filters other than the polarizer. So I've just used the screw-on polarizer, and I'll be able to adjust that once I get into position. Probably going to have the camera down quite low. When shooting a location or a scene like this, I start off thinking that I want my shutter speed to be around about 1/3 of a second, maybe even 1/4 of a second, and cut it down. I'll see what f-stop I end up with. I'll probably start at around about 8 and probably dial it down. We'll really have to see how much light there is. It's just gone overcast again because there was a little bit of harsh light just a moment ago, and it has stopped raining. I might jump in now because I can see that Richard has just finished, and we'll see what we can get. So I'm out here on this rocky little perch, which allows me to get into the middle of the river and gives me a better angle of the waterfall. I've got this beautiful leading line, this series of rocks just in front of the camera. At the moment I've got the camera faced away from the waterfall just to protect the lens. I've got the lens cap on the front here, and I'm just trying to protect it as I talk to you from the spray and the rain. It's raining once again, so quite difficult. And as with most waterfalls, it's difficult to get the exposure right because you've got the white wash as the water comes over the waterfalls, so you need to account for an exposure that won't blow out your highlights there. Then you've got the walls of the river, or in this case there's a little bit of a gorge here with, as Andrew said, this rock that is just magnificent, the way that it's formed and these columns, and it's black. So to get that blackness out and to take the sheen off the wet rock, then I've got a polarizer on the front, as I said, a screw-in polarizer, because I don't need any other filters. It's too hard to put a graduated filter on this because you've got the valley coming in, so it'll just make the walls too dark. So with this leading line from the base of the image in front of the camera, I'm using that to create some interest up into the waterfall. And then of course you've got these walls coming in, and they're going to be quite dark, so it'll really isolate the waterfall itself. To accentuate the leading line and the waterfall and the walls on the side, I've decided to put the camera into portrait mode because that will fit with the leading line better. So I have to account for focusing in the foreground here to make sure that this is focused. My f-stop is around about, let's whiz it around and find out. I'm on ISO 64, my f-stop is 14 to give me a reasonable sharp image from foreground through to the waterfalls themselves. And at the moment my shutter speed is 1/8 of a second. I'd really like to bump that up a bit to at least 1/4 of a second. So I might actually increase my f-stop as well to maybe 16. I really don't want to go much over that. Otherwise the image starts to get diffraction in it and it gets a little bit soft. Okay, so I'm going to mess around here a little bit more with my settings, and then I'll show you the final image hopefully. We started making our way back to the car, and there's just this little path that comes off the main path on the way back. It's an interesting spot, a little bit challenging. There's this large bit of land that comes out very, very close to the river. Gives us a nice perspective of not only those waterfalls that we were shooting before, which are way off in the distance, but also these ones a little bit closer as well. And the thing that's challenging about this is that there's a fallen tree just behind me here, along here. You can see that Andrew is just down there, trying to make the most of it. What we've tried to do is get ourselves over the tree and precariously perch ourselves on this rock just in front. About a 5-metre drop into the river, so we certainly don't want to go over the edge here, and we don't want our gear to either. We're a little bit further away from the waterfall, so we're not getting that spray, but the theme for today is it's either showers or the sun breaks through and we've got harsh sunlight on the waterfall, and of course that just blows the waterfall out. All of the detail in the water just gets lost. I'm here still with the 24-70, which I was using before for the previous shot. I've removed the circular polarizer. I've got the Lee mount here with the circular polarizer on the front. That's the 105 landscape one. And just behind it, I've got the little stopper, the Lee 6 stop. That's the Pro Glass that I'm using. Being glass, of course, it has minimal color shifting or color casting, which is really good. It means there's less adjustments that I have to do in post-processing. This is the second time I've been using the Pro Glass, and I'm really happy with the results. As far as settings are concerned, I'm still on ISO 64, f-stop of 10, and my shutter speed at the moment with the 6-stop is 1.6 seconds. So that 1.6 seconds means that I get a nice silky flow of water as the water comes over the waterfall itself. I'm also picking up some patterns in the water as the foam leads its way off into the right hand side of the image. So I'm getting some leading lines there. The waterfall, there's a nice tree trunk that's fallen across the waterfall that breaks it up. Bit of interest. And then of course I've got the main waterfall right off in the distance, which is actually a little bit hidden by the trees. But the main theme for this image is this waterfall in the front here. So let's not mess around any longer. I'll take the shot and we'll see what it looks like. So we just finished there. We've just packed up. We're getting onto the main path here and we'll head back to the car. It's been a very good morning in between the showers, but lots of opportunities. That's what I love about waterfalls like this. There's lots of different compositions, and at the moment the weather is absolutely beautiful. So we're going to head back to the van, probably have some lunch and then head off to the next waterfall. What's the next waterfall?
Philosopher Falls.
Philosopher Falls. How do we go, boys?
Fairly happy.
Yep.
Bit of an issue with the sun coming out so much. It's a bit too much harsh light on the waterfall, but in between the sun coming out, I thought there was some compositions to be had.
Yeah, like you said, you can spend a good chunk of time here, and some compositions right up the top, and I've been just down here as well, down the riverbanks. Didn't quite fall in, which is a bonus. So, and you know, we could probably stay here for another couple of hours and find some more shots, couldn't we? Yeah.
So if you do want to check out what they ended up capturing, what images they got, then head over to their channels. That's Richard Lefroy and Andrew Dawes. I'll put a link to their channel in the description below. Thanks to Squarespace again for sponsoring this video. If you don't know who they are, they provide a great and easy to use online platform to build a website. You start off by selecting one of their fantastically designed templates, and then you start customizing it so it can look and feel the way you want to. They're a really good company to deal with. I've been using Squarespace for years now, and I recommend them to all my family and friends. And if you do have an issue, then you can rely on their award-winning 24/7 customer service. Go to squarespace.com for a free month trial. And if you do want to go ahead with your website, then go to squarespace.com/Andrew Marr for 10% off your first purchase. As you can see behind me, there's a fair amount of water flowing through here. The river is right up against the bank, and I think that's why we've had so much luck with this waterfall. There was a local that parked in the car park pretty much at the same time we got here, and she was saying that she was here a month ago and the waterfall was just a trickle. So to have that amount of water coming down the waterfall was fantastic, and I think it's made for some really good images. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button down below, and if it's your first time to my channel, please check out some of my other videos and consider subscribing if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell so you are notified when I upload my next video. But until next time guys, thanks very much for watching.